There are some very specific touches that signal attraction, and most people have no idea they're reading them wrong. A few have nothing to do with the obvious things that you might think of, and every single one is involuntary, which means they can't be faked and they can't be stopped, even when someone's trying hard to play it cool. You've had moments where there was a touch that you're not quite sure what it meant. A shoulder leaned on yours, or a hand stayed just a fraction too long, and your brain registered it before your brain had a chance to catch up, and then you replay it. You're trying to figure out what you think it meant. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what those 8 touches of attraction mean, because touch is one of the most honest signals that the human body produces. And once you know how to read it, you'll never have to second guess yourself in the same way again, and you can be sure about what to do next. Let's go. Most people think about touch in broad terms. They touched me, so they must like me, or they didn't touch me, so maybe they don't. But that's not actually how it works. The type of touch matters, the location matters, how long it lasts matters. And perhaps the most important thing is what they do in the moments after the touch is over tells you more than the touch itself. Here's the science behind why. When we touch someone or when someone touches us, the brain releases oxytocin, the bonding neurochemical, as well as dopamine if the touch is from someone that we're already drawn to. These aren't small background processes. They're powerful neurological events that register as significant, whether we consciously acknowledge them or not, which is exactly why touch, done even briefly and seemingly casually, can shift the entire energy of an interaction in a way that words rarely can. Kellner, a psychologist at Berkeley who has spent years studying the social function of touch, found that humans are capable of communicating distinct emotions through touch alone, including attraction, and with a level of accuracy that rivals facial expression. We are wired to both send and receive these signals. Most of us just haven't been taught how to read them. What we're looking at today are the 8 touches that most reliably signal attraction, not because someone deliberately decided to make a move, but because their nervous system was already in motion before they made any decision at all. Touch number 1 is the lower back touch. This one has almost no innocent interpretation, which is what makes it so revealing. The lower back is not a neutral zone. It's not where you place your hand on a colleague that you're guiding through a doorway in a purely professional context. It's intimate in a way that most people don't consciously decide to be. It just happens when someone's attraction overrides their social filter for a moment. A hand placed on the lower back, even briefly, even lightly, is the body staking a quiet claim. In research called proxemics, the study of how humans use and respond to physical space, the lower back falls within the intimate zone, the region that we instinctively protect from people that we're not close to. When someone enters that zone without hesitation and without the social awkwardness that would normally accompany such an overreach, it means that their nervous system has already classified you as someone that's safe to get close to. That classification doesn't happen by accident. Watch what their hand does after. Do they remove it quickly like they caught themselves, or does it linger for just a moment longer before they let go? The linger is the tell. It means that the touch felt good to them too, and the body didn't want to stop. And here's what to do when you feel this touch. Don't tense up. Don't make a production of it. Just let your body receive it naturally. A slight lean into it, a relaxed posture, a small smile if the moment calls for it. What you're communicating is that their closeness is welcome without turning it into a moment that makes them self conscious about what they just did. If you want to reciprocate, find a natural reason to touch their arm or their shoulder shortly after. You're not matching the intimacy level all at once, but you're opening the door and letting them know that you saw them walk through it. Touch number 2 is the arm graze. accidental on purpose. There's a specific kind of touch that people perform and then immediately pretend it didn't happen. It might be something like this. They brush your arm as they walk past. Their hand grazes yours when you're both reaching for the same thing. Uh, they bump into your shoulder and keep talking as if nothing occurred. This is what behavioral scientists call an intention touch. It's a touch that's engineered to look accidental, but at some level, it's deliberate. The person experiencing attraction doesn't even always know that they're doing it. What they know is that their body keeps finding ways to make contact, and the accident framing gives them plausible deniability while still getting what their nervous system is asking for. And here's what to do when you notice it: acknowledge it with your eyes, not your words. A brief glance at the point of contact, and then back up at them with a kind of expression that says, "You noticed," warm, slightly amused, not startled. This does two things. It tells them that the touch registered without embarrassing them, and it signals that you're paying close enough attention to catch what they're doing. That kind of attentiveness is attractive in itself, and you don't have to say a word. Touch number three is the knee touch during conversation. This one happens fast. You're seated mid-con conversation and something lands on your knee, a hand briefly. It's probably paired with laughter or the emphasis of a point, and then it's gone before you've properly registered it happened. The knee is significant precisely because of what it requires. To reach someone's knee, you have to close distance. You have to enter their personal space deliberately and extend across it. In a seated setting where bodies are already contained, that crossing of the invisible boundary between two people's space, that's not a small thing, even when it's presented as casual. Research on touch and affiliation, the human drive to connect, consistently shows us that people touch the people that they feel most drawn to most frequently during shared laughter. The moment of laughter that lowers the guard. It creates an opening and the body takes it. The knee touch is usually that body taking its opening. And here's what to do when it happens: let the laughter run its natural course. Don't cut it short with a reaction to the touch. Then, when the moment settles, just lean in slightly and continue the conversation from a position that's a fraction closer than you were before. You haven't commented on the touch, you've just responded to it physically. That shift in distance is your answer, and it's far more powerful than anything you could say out loud. Touch number four is the hand linger. Something passed between you: a phone, a drink, a pen, a piece of paper, and the hand that does the passing doesn't immediately pull back. It stays just for a beat, maybe two, long enough that both of you feel it and both of you know it wasn't required. The mechanics of a functional object transfer take about half a second. Anything beyond that is not about the object. The linger is the nervous system buying itself time in contact with someone that it doesn't want to stop touching. While the hand is lingering, pay attention to whether they hold eye contact during the linger or they look away. Both are meaningful. Eye contact held means that they're aware of what they're doing and they're choosing to stay in it. Eyes that drop away suggest they felt it so strongly they need a moment to compose themselves. Either way, the hand told you everything. Here's what to do when you feel this. Don't rush to pull your hand away. Stay in the moment for exactly as long as feels natural, maybe a bit longer than you otherwise would. Hold eye contact if you can. You're matching their energy. You're not escalating it, which keeps the whole thing feeling mutual rather than one-sided. If you really want to make it count, you can say something in that moment, something warm, something quiet, because words spoken while two people are already in contact land very differently than words spoken across empty space. Touch number five is the shoulder touch when laughing. Laughter is when people touch most freely and most honestly. The guard drops, the inhibition lowers, and the body does what it actually wants to do. So, When someone reaches for your shoulder in the middle of laughing at something that you said, that touch isn't about the joke. The shoulder is interesting as a touch target because it sits right on the edge of the personal zone, not as intimate as the lower back, but more than the forearm, more than the hand. It's a touch that says, I'm comfortable enough to reach for you without saying it out loud. And when it's paired with laughter, with genuine pleasure, it's the body expressing that being around this person feels really good and wanting to make that physical. Monica Moore's research on courtship behavior identified touch paired with laughter as one of the most reliably attraction linked sequences in human interaction. It's not just that people touch during laughter, it's that they specifically reach for the people that they're most drawn to when their defenses are down. Laughter is the key that unlocks the touch. And here's what you can do when it happens: turn towards them as the laughter settles. Not dramatically, just a slight shift in your body orientation. That brings you just a little more face to face with them. Then hold the warmth in your expression for a second or two longer than the joke warranted. What you're doing is extending the good feeling. You're making it last just a little bit beyond the moment that prompted it. People are drawn back to the person who made them feel good. And lingering in that feeling rather than moving on too quickly is how you become that person. Touch number 6, fixing something on you. This one requires a level of comfort with someone else's personal space that just doesn't happen by accident. They reach over and move a strand of hair from your face. They straighten your collar. They brush something off your shoulder. They might notice a tag sticking out and tuck it back in. Every one of these gestures requires entering your intimate zone without an invitation and doing it with a kind of unself consciousness that only comes when someone feels as though you already belong, at least partly, to their sphere. Ethologists, scientists who study human and animal behavior in natural settings, they call this grooming touch. And it appears across virtually every social species as a bonding behavior directed specifically towards the individuals the animal is closely affiliated with. So in humans, it carries the same function. You don't reach out to fix something on a stranger. You do it for people you feel a pull towards. And the pull has to be strong enough to override the usual social restraint around entering someone's personal space uninvited. And here's what to do when someone does it: be still, let them do it, and meet their eyes when they're done. Now, this sounds simple, but most people either look away in that moment or make a self deprecating joke to deflect the intimacy. Resist that impulse. Being still while someone attends to you with that kind of care, and then meeting their gaze calmly afterwards, is one of the most quietly confident responses that you can offer. It says, your closeness doesn't rattle me. That composure is very magnetic. Touch number 7 is the forearm touch mid sentence. Watch for this one in conversation. They're making a point. They're telling you something that they really want you to hear, and their hand comes to rest on your forearm briefly while they're still talking. Then they remove it and keep going as if it was just part of the emphasis. The forearm touch mid sentence is almost never about the sentence. What it's actually doing is creating a physical anchor. It's a moment of contact that says, stay with me. This matters. I want to know that you receive this. It's the body making sure that the connection is still there, checking that you're still present while the mouth keeps talking about something else entirely. Harry Reese's work on responsiveness and intimacy found that people who use touch to punctuate conversation are typically higher in affiliative motivation. They have a stronger drive to connect with others emotionally, not just intellectually. When that touch is directed consistently at one person in a group, it's not a personality trait expressing itself evenly. It's attraction with a particular target. Here's what to do when this happens: give them what they're reaching for. which is your full attention. Stop whatever part of you was half distracted and land completely in the conversation. Make direct eye contact. Respond to what they said in a way that genuinely shows that you heard it. Not just a polite response, but a real one. When someone reaches out to make sure that you're still with them, the best thing that you can do is prove that you are. That kind of presence is rare, and when people feel it, they won't forget the conversation with you. Touch number 8 is the goodbye touch that lingers. Endings are honest. When a social interaction is winding down, the conversation has run out, and then the body takes over. And the body of someone who's attracted to you doesn't want to leave. That hug that holds just a fraction of a second longer than a friendly hug. The hand on your arm as they say goodbye and doesn't lift away immediately. The moment at the door where they touch your shoulder or they touch your back and then they stand there for a little bit longer than the conversation requires. These aren't oversights. They're the nervous system making one last contact before it has to let go. What makes the touch so revealing is that there's nothing socially convenient about it. The interaction's ending. There's no longer a practical reason for the touch. The extended contact at the end of something has really only one explanation, that the person providing it is not ready for that thing to be over. And that reluctance, that unwillingness to break contact, that tells you far more than anything that happened in the middle of the conversation. Arthur Aaron's research on closeness found that physical contact at the conclusion of meaningful interactions has a disproportionate effect on how the interaction is remembered and how strongly the person wants to repeat it. The ending is what the brain stores most vividly. A lingering goodbye doesn't just signal attraction, it ensures that you become the thing that they're thinking about afterwards. And here's what to do when this happens: don't rush the ending, match their pace. If they're holding their goodbye a little bit longer, stay in it rather than being the one who breaks away first. And before you separate, make sure the last thing between you is eye contact. Not a glance at your phone, not a look towards the door, but a direct, warm moment of connection. That's the frame that their memory keeps. Then, if you feel it's right, you can give them a reason to continue. Maybe a text that you'll send later, or a plan that's still vague enough to invite a follow up. The goal is to make the goodbye feel like a comma, not a full stop. Here's what I want you to take from all this: touch is not nothing. It's not just something that happens alongside connection. It's usually what creates it. It deepens it and it confirms it when it's still too complicated to use words to say it out loud. The touches we've looked at today are not big gestures. They're small, they're brief, and they're easy to miss if you're not paying attention. But that's exactly what makes them trustworthy. Nobody rehearses a hand linger. Nobody consciously decides to graze someone's arm 3 times in a single conversation. These things happen because the attraction is already there, and the body's just saying what they can't say with words yet. Once you understand the language of touch, you stop needing certainty before you act. The signals were always there. You just have the insights now to read them clearly, respond to them confidently, and let that connection build at the pace that your body already knows it wants to go. Touch is the most honest conversation two people can have: quiet, instinctive, and completely unmistakably clear. If this video gave you something useful, I'd love to know. Please drop it in the comments because it genuinely helps me understand what resonates with you and what to make more of. And if you're not subscribed yet, that simple little action makes a real difference to me because it's what makes it possible for me to keep creating content like this.